We're good to go. Okay, I'd like to call tonight's meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, August 14th, 2012 at 7 o'clock p.m. where you have a village board meeting followed by a committee of the whole meeting. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathy, please call the roll this evening.
Mr. Gattuso?
Present.
Mr. Novak?
Present.
Mr. Perry?
Present.
Mr. Sloan?
Present.
Mr. Stecker? Mr. Yurkovich?
Present.
Mr. Fulia?
Present. We do have a quorum. Under item 4, under presentations, we're going to do the presentation of the police intern. And I would ask that we place an item E in the consent agenda for the zoning board with advice and consent. And I'll make my nomination under the presentation, but we'll complete that following the consent agenda. So, item number A, presentation to police intern. Chief Padlick.
In keeping with this administration's objective of expanding the police intern program, I'm happy to announce that this is our second season this summer in which we had a resident. I'd like to call to the podium Robert Pinter and also Lieutenant Jeffrey Mersch, the intern program supervisor. Bob here has been a phenomenal intern. He was with us this past summer. And even though he completed his program successfully, he's even volunteered on a few events to come back. He helped us out with the Westchester Fun Fest and volunteered also at the National Night Out. We'd like to give him the certificate of completion, and I'd like to read. Westchester Police Department presented to Robert Pinter as a student intern in good academic standing with Quincy University. Intern Pinter was selected to attend Westchester Police Department's 6-week police internship program. Intern Pinter received experience and training of many aspects of law enforcement career involving first-hand workings of the Westchester Police Department to complete his bachelor's degree in criminal justice at Quincy University. Robert Pinter has continually conducted himself in a professional manner and displayed a positive approach and commitment to the police internship program from June through July of 12. Upon careful evaluation of attendance, performance, and successful completion of the university and police department requirements, I certify Robert Pinter has completed the graduation criteria and wish him well in his future endeavors, presented on August 14, 2012, and it's signed by his lieutenant in charge of the program and myself. We wish Bob a lot of success. We also wish Bob well this Saturday. The Westchester Police Department will be having a police candidate test, and he will be in the running.
Thank you very much for all your service to the police department as an intern. I know you've learned something. I want to say I hope you learned something, but I know you did under the tutelage of certainly Jeff, Steve, and April. So thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, under item B, I said we're going to make the physical appointment after the consent agenda. But at our last meeting, we had actually a couple vacancies in the zoning board, and I asked Jimmy, a.k.a. Pete Walters, and Sherby Miller if they would like to relinquish their ethics board positions, and because they're already vetted by this board, and would they consider being part of a zoning board. And the board pretty much thought that that was a very good idea. So with that, we're going to have under E, the zoning board advice and consent to the board of my appointment. And at that point, we can swear Pete in and hopefully welcome him to be part of our zoning board, as there will be some zoning matters coming up probably in the near future. So I'd see I know his name is Jim, but he likes to be called Pete, so J. Pete is here, so thank you. Item number 5, public comments and questions. To give as many visitors as possible an opportunity to speak, and in the interest of adjourning by 9, please limit your comments to 3 minutes in length, unless further time granted by the board. So if you'd like to comment, please step up to the microphone, introduce yourself, your address, and fire away. Ma'am, you need to step up to the microphone, please. And if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself to our clerk and that.
Mr. President, trustees, and good evening. My name is Kathy Triska, and I represent the Proviso Area Crop Walk. CROP stands for Communities Responding to Overcome Poverty. We do a crop walk every year, usually in September, and we're looking for a variance on the ordinance that prohibits posting of signage on parkways. We put our signs out the way it had in the past, many years, put our signage on parkways, and it lasts about 24 hours at the most. This assists, we have a number of youth from Walter Lutheran High School that come, usually around 60 kids, and a lot of them don't read. If it's not on an iPad or whatever, they're not going to look at it. So this helps. And last year we had a couple of young ladies, probably 2 or 3, that got lost. They didn't read the map correctly, and the sign, we had tried to put some things up, but they didn't quite catch it and that stuff. So these kids come from Chicago and all over the place, Walter Lutheran's kids. So we're asking just for a variance for just to be able to put signage out. It wouldn't be a lot on some of the trees and that stuff. And you all know, I'm sure, Pastor Joseph Mills. He is my pastor at Westchester Community Church, and he is the last one to do the walk. And he always picks up all the signs and everything, makes sure it's clean, leaves it cleaner than it was before. If there's anything anywhere, he tries to go on, close them, and take off extra nails or staples and that stuff. So we're just asking if you would consider that. I'd really appreciate it. Our committee would really appreciate it. Just thought I'd ask that question. It's my 3 minutes. So.
You know the reason for the sign regulations, do you not?
Yes, it's because like for anybody who's posting for yard sales and house sales and stuff like that. This is there's no profit made out of this. We actually donate to the Westchester Food Pantry and other Broadwood Food Pantry, and there's a quarter of the proceeds from the walk does come back to local, and we do distribute that. Nothing is spent on personal gain or anything. That's the only reason I'm asking.
The issue comes with, in the posting of any signs, if we allow a sign, we cannot control the content. So how philanthropic the organization is, or how different it is, we can't control what somebody wants to put up. So I know that the board discussed this at length at a number of occasions of why we would shy away from posting things on public domain that aren't obviously from the village, because there may be a challenge in the future if we allowed your organization, and we know it's great. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts with that, but some other organization may point the finger and say, well, you allowed it for this, since we can't control content, that may force our hand to allow something that we really wouldn't want on trees and posts and things like that. And I don't say we wouldn't have a leg to stand on legally to deny that as well. So we'll certainly contact, our village attorney is here. If I've misstated something, Mike, please.
Are these directional signs to
Yes.
indicate where the?
Yes.
Is it just an arrow or something?
I should have brought one with me, or a couple with me, whatever we put up, because it's about so wide and about so long, and it's an arrow. And we put it on a tree, and it tells the kids where to go, everybody where to go.
I mean, the village, if it's a directional sign and it's as simple as what you're describing, the village can post, you know, temporary signs when it has an activity like a parade route or something. You know, the village can block off streets or no parking. So we'll have to look at what you're seeking to display, and perhaps there can be an accommodation that it's a village posting, it's not a private entity's posting, if it's just for directional purposes, so.
Definitely. It's, and like I says, I can come back at the next meeting and show you what I'm talking about, and that if I mean, or I
Why
can
don't-
drop
why-
something off at
Why don't you do this? Bring whatever you're going to post to the village hall.
Okay.
We can give it to the village manager.
Okay.
We'll take a look at it, and we won't have to wait till the next meeting, and we'll figure it out.
That's all we're asking.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
great. Thank you
Appreciate it.
very much. Anyone else?
Good evening. I am Timothy Hinsdale, a longtime resident of beautiful Westchester and a local business owner. And first, I would like to make a personal comment. I want to thank Village President Sam Puglia for recognizing the passing of my baby sister, Margaret Hinsdale Pometta, in the July issue of the Village newsletter. I and my whole family appreciated it. Thank you, Sam. Give me a second.
And from the whole board, and certainly the whole village, Tim, we're certainly very sorry.
Thank you. And now I have some other positive comments to make. I would like to comment on the first quarter financial report that was authored by Ann Burkholder, our finance director. And first off, nice report, Ms. Burkholder. I really enjoyed reading it. I grew up in a family where my father was the chief financial reporting officer for Sears Roebuck, and I used to read quarterly and annual reports like other kids read comic books. So I really appreciated your report. And my first comment is in regards to the general fund revenues on page 15. Greg wants to cue that up. And it was about the code enforcement fines, and that the fines exceeded the annual budgeted projection due to increased enforcement. And I believe this is due to the diligence of the interim building commissioner. The levy of fines is not intended to be a revenue stream, but it is a measurement of how well the department is doing, and it seems Mr. Saviano is doing quite well. This is not an opinion. The numbers speak for themselves. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Saviano. My second comment is about the report on page 17 and about the hotel motel tax fund. It states that the village is anticipating a refund revenue from the unsold portion of the wristbands that were purchased in advance and that were sold by the village at cost to residents. I'd like to know how much monies we're talking about here, and when will the village get the refund? You can address that anytime. And then finally, I'd like to make a comment about the minutes of the Committee of the Whole on July 10th. At the end, in public participation, there are comments from other residents, and the comments that were made to me by what is missing is that the reporting of Trustee Cattuso's apology to me regarding the Chamber of Commerce not sending out letters and soliciting local businesses is not reported there. And I don't feel that we need to have a transcript of what was said, but he did give it. It was part of the official meeting, and I feel it should be properly reflected in the minutes. I would be satisfied with just a simple declaration, something in the order of, very, very bland. Just say, Trustee Cattuso offered an apology to resident Timothy Hinsdale regarding the solicitation of food vendors for Westchester Fest. Mr. Hinsdale accepted the apology. Just a simple statement that states the facts without going into any controversy. And I'd just appreciate if a board member would make a motion to amend those minutes when it's time to vote on it. Thank you very much for your time, and very much appreciated from your kind words. Good night.
Anyone else? I see we have a few Boy Scout candidates in the audience today. I see Mr. Coliani is there. Would you like to introduce your two candidates? And I see that they're scribbling some information down. And
I had both of my hips
doing?
replaced 29 days ago, so I'm sure that's why you wanted me to get up there and talk, right?
actually, there's going to be I don't want to say a veterans run, but the run is going to be on November 11th. So we're
Well,
just trying to
technically,
get
I'm
you
still
ready for
supposed to be
that.
using a walker or at least a cane, but I don't follow the rules sometimes. We have two scouts with us tonight, my son Eddie Coliani and his friend Alex Creevy, and Alex's mom Maria is also with us. They're working on their citizenship in the community merit badges. And I believe what they need to find tonight is an issue where two sides exist, and they need to choose one side, and then to their merit badge counselor explain why they chose that side and how how it could be resolved. And as long as I'm up here, I guess I'd like to mention one thing. We're 3 months out from Thanksgiving, but I know I see a lot of faces in here that have helped us in the past with the Scouting for Food drive, which contributes to the food pantry here as well as a few other food pantries in the area. We'll be looking for help again without worrying about the dates. It's really simple. It's the 2 Saturdays before Thanksgiving. 2 Saturdays prior is when we hand out flyers, and our goal is to reach every household. And then the Saturday right before is when we collect the food. And several of the students from the National Junior Honor Society from the middle school, including Eddie and Alex, will be bringing the food contribution to the pantry at the village here and going through the pantry and stocking it, removing out-of-date foods and all that type of thing so that we're in really good shape for Thanksgiving.
Great.
I will get an email out to everybody reminding you because we're pretty far out. But I thought
Thanks
I'd
for the
mention it.
information. I know we've helped in the past,
Yeah,
and I'm sure
absolutely.
we'll be helping in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, any more comments? If not, there's no public hearings this evening, correct? Okay. Let's see, number 7, consent agenda. As previously stated, I've added an E for the zoning board appointment. Is there anything that needs to be pulled? I think we have a request from Mr. Hinsdale about minutes.
I'll pull the minute.
And again, that was,
Is the village of the board meeting?
Item C3.
C3.
I'm sorry.
So July 10th, 2012, regular board meeting, correct? No, Committee of the Whole.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
C4
So that would be 4. Committee of the Whole of July 10th.
You want to pull it or make the motion with amending it to that?
You'd have to pull it.
You have to pull it
first?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll pull C4 temporarily. Anything else need to be pulled?
Just like to make sure that the clerk has item letter E is advice and consent on the appointment of James Walters to the Zoning Board of Appeals. So you'll be voting on that with the consent agenda vote.
And also adding Sherby too, Sherby Miller, both.
I would like, if I can, add Sherby, and then we could swear in at a later time. She's presently was unavailable for this evening.
So item E.
Let's
would
add, let's add that name as well.
Yeah.
Well,
be
okay.
item E.
So,
We adding Sherby?
yes.
Yeah.
So James P. and Sherby. Okay, everybody clear on all the issues? Okay, is there a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
So
Motion
moved.
by Frank?
Second.
Tommy?
Tom, second.
Paul? Tell me.
Tom, second.
Tom, okay. Motion by Frank, second by Tom. Roll call, please.
Mr. Gattuso?
Aye.
Mr. Novak?
Aye.
Mr. Perry?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan?
Aye.
Mr. Yurkovich?
Aye.
Mr. Kulia?
Aye. Motion carries. Items are approved. All right, item number 4. Is there a motion and a second to approve item C4
Motion.
with Paul?
Second.
Second by Frank. With the amendment,
With the amendment.
as stated. There's no problem with the statement.
Can somebody please state that amendment then?
With the stating that we'd like the amendment to read that trustee Gattuso apologize to resident Hinsdale for the letter going out to the vendors. For the lack of letter. The letter going out to the vendors for the Fun Fest. Is that okay, Mr. Hinsdale? Perfect. Okay?
Okay, the minutes shall reflect that amendment. There's a motion, a second on the floor for approval. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? That motion carries as well. Okay, if the board doesn't mind, I will swear in Jim. Get to come up front there. Active agenda, anything? No, managers report.
Okay, just a couple of things to note. Let's see, Molly Keene and the Green Team, I guess, we're just letting you know that in the next couple of weeks, Waste Management will be mailing refuse recycling guides to all the households. Just a heads up, we will have another meeting beforehand, but a reminder that the Village Hall will be closed Monday, September 3rd in observance of Labor Day. And we want to have everybody mark your calendars for the back-to-school picnic being held by the Park District on Friday evening, September 7th. There have a lot of activities, including Reptile Man and jumping houses, and the highlight will be a donkey baseball challenge between the village and the Park District with real donkeys. So should be a lot of fun. Hope everybody comes out to that. Again, that's 5 to 9 at Mayfair. And also want you to save the date, and I'll save it for President Pooley to talk about, but save the afternoon of September 8th. We have begun construction on a memorial fountain, and that is the scheduled date for the dedication. And that's all I have this evening.
Thank you. Attorney report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to report that the village's bargaining team recently concluded negotiations with the fire union by reaching tentative agreements on all of the open items that those tentative agreements have not yet been ratified by the fire union. I believe they're scheduled to have the ratification vote take place sometime next week. But we would anticipate that that contract would be on the agenda for the next village board meeting on August 28th. That's all I have. Thank you.
Board members' reports. Frankie, EDC.
It was a relatively short meeting. We're going over the bylaws. Tony Saviano's going to report on what's going on as far as businesses in Westchester and permits. That's really all I have. It was basically a 45-minute meeting. Not too much went on. We were actually short-staffed, too. We had 3 people that had excused absences.
Okay, CAB.
In the board pack, you guys saw the results from the surveys that we did at the fest. I wanted you guys to see that, just so you guys were aware of what the residents said and everything. This is just a draft copy. The survey is still online that residents can fill out until October 1st. So if anybody would like to do it, they can still do it. And also, you see this nice dining guide that Molly Keene was able to draw up. We're starting to work on a packet that's going to be handed out to all the new residents in town, displaying, about fire, building, everything, a lot of information, along with the park district and stuff. And this dining guide, posting all the different places to eat. There's 33 of them in town, is going to be in there as well.
This is kind of a draft copy?
This is a draft copy, yes. But it's pretty nice. I would like to thank Molly for her hard work on it.
Very nice job. Paulie, anything special events?
Nothing coming up yet. Trying to work on something, get some other ideas. Hopefully, try to set up some things for maybe trying to get a movie night, maybe for, sometime in the kids go back to school real quick or something. Nothing on the hopper right now, Stan.
Green Committee.
Talking about putting calendars on your, or dates on your calendars, for September, traditionally the e-recycling is the second Saturday of the month. We are changing it to the third Saturday, which is September 15th, due to the activity going on September 8th. And it feel that we would have a very minimal amount of people helping. So we are changing it to September 15th. This will be in the newsletter stating that. Other than that, I believe the e-recycling event was successful. I wasn't there, but that's all I have to say.
Good, thank you. B, I know you're working on your the Locator system. As I understand, and maybe you know probably more than I do, looks like it's bogged down in attorney land. 'Cause I know that's
It's stuck in legal mumbo jumbo. So we're working on it, and Janet and I just talked about it on Saturday. So we're trying to get that pushed forward so we can get that program going live.
Yeah, I think all of us want that program to go forward, especially now we have school starting quickly. I think we all would have liked to had everything moving by now. So if there's some phone calls to make, I think we need to make the phone calls and see where the snafu is and then push it forward.
I did speak to the attorney for the Mental Health Commission on Saturday, and they're I didn't have the benefit of having the agreement with me on Saturday, but the discussion concerned their impression that the village struck an indemnification clause from that contract, and I told the attorney it wasn't my recollection that we made that change, and that was confirmed yesterday in my discussion with Janet. What we sent over still contained the indemnification clause. It struck a defined term of indemnified parties, but there's still an indemnification provision in there. And I've made several phone calls and left messages to that effect to Jim Vaselli, the attorney for the Mental Health Commission. I don't anticipate a problem in getting this resolved. It just, that came out of left field that they thought that language was taken out, so it shouldn't be a stumbling block at all. So,
Yeah, it sounded like there was definitely some miscommunication going back and forth. So
We're not allowed to have those. Okay, staff, Chief Padlick.
Well, I have to say we had a successful first event, National Night Out, on August 7th. I'd like to thank the board for their participation and for representing the village. Between the walk and the amount in the swimming pool and the people in the park, estimated over 400 participants, and looking forward to expanding that next year. Recently, we've had some promotions in the police department with the resignation of Lieutenant Stabos on July 31st. Effective August 1st, we promoted Lieutenant Jeffrey Mersch to that position, and in his place, Sergeant Mark Borkovic. And again, as I said earlier, this Saturday, we are testing for new police candidates.
Also, I saw that you received some new vehicles out in the lot. Maybe you need to expound on those because they don't look like the typical squad car. They're more of an SUV. Is that not correct?
It was part of the grant rewrite where we purchased the 2 new squads and the 1 SUV, yes. 2012 Ford Explorer.
Thank you. Yeah. James, Chief of the Fire Department.
Save the date, October 7th, Sunday, will be the fire department open house, demonstrating the sprinkler room versus the non-sprinklered room, which is always impressive, among some other various activities. And then just want to remind residents as the kids are getting back in school, just be vigilant and look out for the kids in the neighborhood going back to school.
And Finance Director, a compliment on your report as well.
Thank you. That was the first part. The quarterly financial report was included in the board packet, so if there's any specific questions, I'd be happy to address them phone, email, after the meeting, whatever you want. Additionally, the village found it necessary to release a request for a proposal for banking services as our current bank has disbanded their local government division. Proposals were due back to the village last Friday, and we did receive 7 proposals for banking services. Staff is in the process of reviewing these proposals and selecting a new bank. So we will report back when we are ready to move forward with that.
Great. Thank you. Gregory, I understand you had an ETSB board meeting today as well?
Yes. Trustee Stecker unfortunately was unable to attend, and we did a lot more discussion than we did any action to the discussion. We were holding off until his return. We did a lot of discussion on some of the reserves that we have and trying to allocate them properly, looking at some items that we've discussed prior to the budget, looking to potentially create a budget amendment mid-year for some of the items that we had discussed previously, not only with the board but also with the ETSB board. And look forward to that. I'll hold off on any further of that until we make any votes and decisions on all that, but I'll pass some information as we put it all together. Also just want to add how successful, as much as the electronic waste is successful, the drug drop-off is still accumulating more drugs every time. It used to be every 2 or 3 weeks. Now it's down to about every week and a half. There's 50 to 70 pounds. And I believe I just...
There's a new date, is that not correct?
In the end of September, they're having a national drug take-back program date that we'll post, of course, with signage and see how much we can bring in this time.
Great. Thank you. David Stozier, your turn. Public Works.
Excuse me. The Department of Public... The Department of Public Works has had 10 water main repairs completed in the month of July, and also we've had 2 so far in August. We're right now about at the tail end of doing all the restoration work for those repairs, pavement, driveway aprons, and parkways. We're also probably halfway through our pavement striping with the onset of school next week. We've gotten all the work around the schools completed so far, and we're probably about a week away from completing all the pavement striping within town. We're also going to commence the crack filling program very soon. Also, as a result of the villages repairing several pavement areas throughout town, we've rented a grinder and patched a number of failed pavement areas throughout town, and as a result of that, we've created somewhat of a mountain of asphalt grindings in the rear of our site here near the railroad tracks. We do have some site constraints, so I've elected to try to get rid of some of those grindings, and I've reached out to IDOT, as a matter of fact, Hillside Yard. They've also sent out an email to neighboring IDOT yards, so we've been able so far to get rid of probably about 500 cubic yards of that material for free. Just to kind of open up our site in the back a little bit, we've got a lot of equipment and employee parking back there, which is rather tight. So that's been a real blessing, I think, to us to try to get rid of that material for free. I did contact a local quarry in Lyons who wanted us to pay $120 a load to get rid of that material. So I think getting rid of it for free has probably saved us about $10,000 so far, and I believe that there are more IDOT trucks coming to relieve us of more of that material. Also, just about a week and a half ago, our Vector jet broke down, and we had a sewer emergency here in town where one of our mains was plugged and a resident was experiencing some sewage backup in their house. I did reach out to neighboring communities, and fortunately the village of Brookfield let us borrow their Vector jet. We corrected the problem, and they even let us keep it overnight, so we cleaned it up for them and brought it back the next day. So that was very nice of them to let us borrow that, and they've offered to let them borrow ours in the near future if they ever have any issues with their Vector jet as well.
You know, additionally, we talk about the striping that Eric Tetente is the mad striper. He's also adding something this year that we're putting the slow school on the pavements by the school. So another added feature that when motorists are driving that they can see to slow down, another visual deal as well. So a little addition to the safety. Tony, you're up.
Okay. A couple new businesses have opened in town. ATI is on Cermak Road, 11223, physical therapy. Also at 10333 next to Papa John's on Roosevelt. Papa John's update, they want to open up Monday, August 20th. They're still having problems with their equipment, their exhaust, their coolers, and it's going to be iffy. But they want to open up Monday. Also, there's a major restaurant might take the place of Morton's in the Towers. I'm talking with a fellow now, and he's very interested. I don't want to say the name because I don't want it to go under. And also, as you notice, there's a lot of new signs in town. Papa John's, JD's, the old awful signs that were on Roosevelt Road. The new signs look well. There's also new signs on 31st and Wolf, Charter Fitness, the cleaners. So the area has really addressed. I mean, it's looking nice, really shaping up and really looking nice. And that's it for now.
Good. Mrs. Booth, anything to share this evening? Nothing. Okay. Also in the audience, our village attorney, Mark Zesch, our engineer, I'm sorry, and Hope Garrett, our project manager. Mark, any information? I'm not sure that the board has met you as yet. I know we've had on a number of occasions as we've worked through different projects over the years. But Mark comes from Christopher Burke, and in the process of the streets that we're going to try to get resurfaced this year. So can you give us a little update, sir?
I can, Mayor. Mr. President, thank you very much. Mr. Trustee, or Village Trustees, the 2012 street program is currently out to bid. This will be open on August 23rd with recommendation for the board meeting on the 28th. As of right now, 8 contractors have picked up proposals. We would envision a few more this week, and we hope to, receive 8 to 10 proposals, which would be a very competitive bid for the village. Currently has 5 streets in the program. The scope of the work generally is to remove and replace curb and gutter, mill and resurface the streets, replace sidewalk and handicap areas. The project is slated to be completed by November 21st of this year. Right now, our current estimate is approximately $1.6 million for the work, and we're hoping that comes in under the current estimate.
So, good. Any questions for Mark? Not. Thank you. Hope, anything to add? Nothing to add. Great. Our Sidewalk 50/50 program, is that moving ahead?
We're currently waiting on contract approval from IDOT. Hopefully we'll get that this week. And the contractor would like to start next Monday. It looks like we're on track to do that. He seems to think he's going to be able to get the whole town done in 3 days. I'd say maybe 5 to 10. So we'll see how.
Well, the good part about it is hopefully the leaves won't be falling into the to the concrete. That's usually we're playing somewhere in October, so that's a good thing that we're a little ahead of the curve. So great. Thank you very much. Okay, anything else? Anybody that I missed? Okay, I guess it's my turn. Board President's report. From my observations, I'm still here every day. However, I'm not interfering with Dave in any way, shape, or form. Dave is running Public Works and has pretty much a well-oiled machine. So he's made some changes in there, some thoughts, and he's working out very well. So certainly, sir, you've done everything of my expectations as Public Works Director, and keep up the good work in that. Janet mentioned our fountain. For those that don't know, I don't know if I mentioned it, we went before the county board on July 24th and got approval. In fact, Commissioner Tobolsky and Commissioner Suffredin are trying to give us the whole piece of property from one end to the other. So that's on the horizon, and hopefully that'll be something that will certainly enhance all of Westchester. It seems like a dead piece as far as Forest Preserve is concerned, and I think it could be a jewel for the village of Westchester, getting from Westchester Boulevard to Cermak, Crestwood to Cermak Road as well. So hopefully that will happen. The Public Works Department, and thanks to Ubi, who works for Public Works, is a concrete finisher in his own right with his own private business and employees, and has helped tremendously in laying out the vision. The base or the bottom of the fountain has been poured today. They plan on pouring the walls tomorrow. We have a pump already that was available at the village that we're going to, I know it's tested and it's working, but we'll see how it works in our application. Certainly Dave, with his engineering experience, came up with a way to run it correctly, and we should be moving forward with that. As Janet mentioned, tentatively September 8th. As you all know, I wanted to get this up and dedicate it to the police department, the fire department, the military people that serve us every day, and certainly the 911 victims and the survivors as well, as a testament to our strength as a nation. I have invited Mrs. Pretwinkle and certainly the whole county board. All of our commissions are invited. All of our residents are certainly invited. And I'm hoping that we will at least be able to have a working fountain that day. Certainly it's a work in progress. There's a lot of work to be done over time. Some of the good news is just yesterday, a townsperson came in and donated a check for $1,000 for the fountain. They indicated 2 years ago that they would be donating, and I haven't really been advertising or anything. I was waiting for the county to see if we could even make the project go, and they saw the activity there, came in and instantly wrote a check. So I don't know if they want their names out there, or else I would be happy to say what their names are, but they're a resident on Canterbury Street, so I certainly thank them. So it's a work in progress. I'm planning on contacting the Garden Club and hopefully get a meeting Saturday morning out there to see what their vision for some floral arrangements and things of that nature to dress up that corner. So I'm very enthused about it. It's again, it's a work of sweat equity, and I think it's part of the aesthetics program that CMAP and all of the UIC students have indicated that dressing up the town and making it aesthetically more beautiful is a positive thing. So we're moving right with that. On top of that, I probably have, I think, 4 or 5 students from Proviso Math and Science Academy, one from Nazareth, a return, that has been helping over the summer trying to get the 100 hours for the Sheriff's Youth Medal. For those of you that certainly travel through town, I would ask you to take a ride on Gladstone over the Addison Creek, as 6 of them one day. They sanded and metal brushed, primed and painted the bridge railings that probably have not been done since they were installed, new. They painted them red. Today, Faye, who worked with us again last year, did all of the guardrails and the chain link fences in silver. So if you travel over Gladstone, you'll see that it's dressed up. We cut down all the weeds that were around the outside of the structures to the best of our ability, and cleaned up the area and received a number of kudos today while we were out there, and certainly in the past. So also you'll notice that pretty much all of the Westchester stop signs, snow route signs from Roosevelt Road and north have all been wire brushed and painted as well green. And we even encroached into south of Roosevelt Road, like Pelham and Carlisle. So we've used probably at least 4 gallons of green paint. I can say that most of the paint, I think, went on the signs. However, when I looked at them when they came back, it seemed that a lot of the green and silver paint got all over them as well. So, but I think dressing up the town and doing those little things and painting and using the service hours is a positive thing, and it's really making the neighborhood look, in my opinion, real good. So, other than that, that's my president's report. Number 13 is an executive session. I would ask for one after the conclusion of our committee of the whole for personnel collective bargaining update and land acquisition, the 3 that we can do in executive session. So if there's nothing else for the good of the order of the village board meeting, I would ask for a motion, a second, to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Tom and Brian. All those in favor of adjourning our board meeting this evening, say aye.
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 Any opposition, say no. We stand adjourned.